Hi, I've been finding myself feeling very apathetic about a lot of things. It's been really hard for me to enjoy stuff anymore. I just don't feel as passionate about things. It's really hard for me to find a hobby that I feel like doing. Hobbies have become something that feels like a chore now, and I felt this way on and off throughout a lot of my life. Normally, if I'm feeling sad or off, my thought would be, okay, well, I need to do something fun. I haven't been having nearly enough fun lately, but then I rack my brain for things that I find fun and I just can't find anything. If I'm lucky, I might enjoy playing a video game for a couple days, but then even that fades out. It's like I'm putting all this effort in just to feel okay, just to have some sort of baseline. Like, yeah, all these things I'm doing technically are helping, but I don't feel good. It just stops the feeling from getting worse for a moment. It can also feel pointless, especially when starting something creative, if I'm not good at it immediately, which obviously I'm not going to be. I've never expected to be. But it's like, if that's the case, then how am I supposed to get enjoyment out of this? Because I'm just watching myself create something shitty. I'm losing sight of the intrinsic value of doing things. So I wanted to talk about some of the things that I'm currently doing to pull myself out of that and things I've used in the past that have worked. So maybe it might help some people, hopefully. I'm going to talk about a lot of different things, but I have to start with it is that damn phone, which I get sick of hearing because people are saying that a lot. There's this resistance to that because no, my phone is the only thing that's bringing me any joy anymore. Or at the very least, it's the only thing I feel like doing. I don't feel like doing anything else. If I felt like doing anything else, then I would do it, but I don't. And the best way I can explain it for myself is that my mind is like a cup, and everything I do with screens is like filling that cup up with water. And because it's all these quick hits of dopamine just over and over, the cup fills up really quickly. And I'm so overstimulated, just so full of bullshit that I don't have room for anything else. So it becomes impossible to enjoy something like reading a book or creating something, and even just playing video games. I've realized that I've been thinking I can have both at once, both in the sense that I can be on my phone a lot, but as long as I go for a walk or journal sometimes, that it'll balance out. But that has not been possible for me. Our minds can only handle so much at a time. We were not built for this level of connectivity with literally everyone and everything. But it's like, okay, everyone's telling me to stop being on screen so much, but when I'm not, I feel terrible. My thoughts are racing and I'm super anxious and I can't live like this. But like any addiction, you're gonna have withdrawal symptoms when you cut it out. Because your brain and body aren't just trying to torment you for no reason. I think everyone's mental health right now is on a decline, and it's a very logical response to the world around us. And the more you hold it in and distract and ignore, the more the kettle's gonna start boiling and steaming and screaming. And the more you numb your negative emotions, you're also numbing the positive ones. You're simultaneously numbing your joy and passion and creativity. Emotions are meant to be felt. That's how you process everything. You have to be able to sit in silence long enough to cry again. And the more that you cry or scream or release these emotions in any way, you're finally like dumping out that cup of water. You're gonna finally have room to put good things in there. So I like to think of it as an extinction burst. It feels like things are getting worse, but that's their final hurrah before it gets better. The negative emotions themselves are not the problem. They just start to become more of a problem the more you hide them. I think I read or listened to something recently. I don't remember who said it, but they said invite that negative emotion in for a cup of tea, where you let the emotion in and you sit with them and listen to them to see what they have to say. And in the same way that you invite a guest in, the time eventually comes to see them out. Something like anger, for example, is not an emotion you can sustain forever. Emotions naturally ebb and flow. And so if you have the patience to sit with them, they will eventually come back down, like riding a wave. So once you've been able to release some of those emotions, you might be thinking, well, like, what now? Because I still maybe don't feel like doing anything. Sarah Schauer wrote something on Substack, so I'm gonna reference that. She talked about getting back into hobbies again, specifically researching, as like a kind of romance or seduction. Like, you don't dive in head first immediately. You set the mood first for whatever hobby you want to try. Like lighting a candle or just gathering all of your highlighters and pens. Denying yourself the hobby until you want it so bad you can't handle it. And maybe that's making collections on Pinterest of something you're interested in. Whatever way that you can slowly introduce it into your life to pique your own interest. For me, it's been a very effective way of getting interested in things again. And also, if you don't like whatever hobby, then stop the hobby. I think I can get really caught up in a sort of perfectionism or like the sunk cost fallacy, where if I start something, I feel like I have to finish it, otherwise it wasn't worth it. But if something doesn't speak to you anymore, drop it. You are your own authority. There's no one telling you you have to do a hobby hobby. Feel free to rotate throughout them. This isn't school anymore, because I think school has stifled a lot of people's interest in learning and creativity. There's no assignments, there's no due dates, there's no grades. Take things at your own pace, accommodate yourself. I have all these aspirations for the kind of person I want to be and the kind of things I want to accomplish. Some future version of me that has most things figured out. Like, the end goal is the only thing that's important, and all the stuff that you have to do to get there is annoying and a chore. And when I'm in this kind of mindset and I think about, okay, if I was to cut out everything in my life that was the journey to getting to where I want to be, how much of my life would be left? Because the answer is not much. So much of life can feel like endless cycles, endless loops that are never fully completed. The laundry and the dishes always have to be done. When it comes to learning, there's always more to learn. You're never done. Whatever talent you're pursuing, you could always be better at it. So how do you enjoy the process? And I talked about this in my video, Escaping Apathy, in a more experimental way, so I'm gonna explain it a little more directly here. But I think of all the things that I do enjoy, or at least at one point in my life enjoyed for the sake of doing them. Like, when you're playing a video game, you don't just want to beat it in 5 seconds. What's the point? You're playing it for the sake of enjoying the story and the gameplay, to watch yourself get better at it. And video games, as well as movies and TV shows, can bring up negative emotions. Anxiety or anticipation, or maybe you're watching a thriller. There's the uncertainty of not knowing where something's gonna go. We love to watch other people's stories and get involved in their narratives, but rarely our own. You know, if you're someone who enjoys kink, you understand what it means to enjoy pain, which feels very contradictory, but they're often one and the same. So what is it about all of those things, and how do you apply that in your daily life? Like I said before, that first step for me was making sure there's enough room in my cup to begin with to put anything in there, that I'm not so filled up with TikTok and YouTube and music and all sorts of media. And when I'm finally able to yank myself from the claws of cheap dopamine and release the pent-up emotions that I've been ignoring, my brain slowly starts functioning the way it was meant to function. Humans are problem solvers. We naturally already like to build or create. We like having something to do. And if you're able to think about your life as a story, suddenly this sense of purpose comes back to it. It's your own personal, internal story, internal journey, and external too. There's enemies and boss fights everywhere, and it can feel lonely knowing that this is the only perspective you will ever have. This is the only mind and body and life you will have. But in that same way, that's incredibly unique. Nobody else will ever 1000% fully experience your story the way you are. I think the idea of being the main character has become a way to say somebody's being selfish or self-centered, but in a literal sense, you are, because this is all you have. And the more I can think about my life that way, the more I can assign purpose to seemingly mundane things. If I could just press a button and complete things, there would be no sense of satisfaction to it. The reason the things you achieve are satisfying is because of the work it took to get there. And with that, I want to talk about mindfulness, which is a term I think a lot of people have heard, but maybe it feels kind of tacky or hard to apply. Or like, what do you mean, be mindful? If I'm in the present moment, there's some kind of pain attached to it. I'm trying to escape that. In my experience, at least 50% of my displeasure in doing something is not from the task itself, but instead from the thoughts I'm thinking during it, the anxiety and worry that I have. Is this good enough? What do people think of me? Is this all going to fall apart in the future? And the concept of mindfulness centers around seeing reality, the present moment, for what it actually is. Instead of vacuuming the floor and thinking about all the other chores you have to get done, you're just vacuuming the floor. It makes me think of games like Power Wash Simulator, where the whole game is just doing a chore of some kind, or games where you're grinding a lot, where there's no official end goal, like Stardew Valley. Because if you're able to be present with it, it's satisfying to watch the thing get clean, to see the progress and know that you're the one doing it, that you're capable of it. One of the pitfalls of this that I tend to experience is trying too hard to be mindful. I'm like, okay, I have to be mindful. I have to think about only the task that I'm doing. I gotta stop worrying. Don't think about anything else, which creates this resistance and tension. And that idea, like, if I tell you to not think about a pink elephant, you immediately just thought of a pink elephant. The more you resist and push back and say, no, I can't think about other things, the more you think about those things. So it's not that while you're doing whatever task and living your life that you never think about anything else, because that's impossible, but rather getting in the habit of noticing when worries are popping up and sort of letting them slide by. Ah, yes, here I am worrying about this thing, and there it goes. There's a lot of different visuals people use for this. Some people say it's like floating by in a river, or it's a cloud passing by. But the overall idea is that you are not your thoughts. You're the person observing your thoughts. Just because you worried something bad was going to happen doesn't make it reality. It's just a thought that you had. Since I'm kind of back on the topic of perfectionism, I'm going to talk about that. When I look for all sorts of advice on how to be happier and live a better life, I very easily become a perfectionist about it. I have to apply all of this now. I have to be healed. I'm gonna be so mindful and so present, and I'm gonna start all these hobbies and commit to them and get really good at them. I'm changing my life today. But again, it's about the process. The process is the point, the journey. I've had trouble holding these two opposing thoughts at once, that I'm supposed to accept who I am right now in totality and also aspire to grow and change and learn, aspiring to be the person that I wish that I was. So how can I hold both of those at the same time? How can they both be true? I'm gonna use another video game metaphor. They're very helpful. I love playing The Last of Us Part 2. I started playing it on light, and then I played it again on moderate, and then on hard, and now I'm playing again on survivor. And the most unexpected thing for me, the thing that stood out most, is how the game forces you to change strategies when you up the difficulty. You end up needing to change your tactics in how you fight, whether you're more aggressive or defensive, whether you're playing stealth or not. I'm also finding different items more useful, an upgrade that I previously thought, like, why would I need that? Why would I ever use that? And now I'm like, oh, I need this. And I guess my point is, each of my playthroughs were a valuable experience for very different reasons. I'm not like having an inherently better time because I'm playing on a harder game mode, although maybe it sounds slightly more impressive. And of course I couldn't get to where I am now without doing all the previous playthroughs at easier difficulties. I just keep finding new ways to enjoy the same game. So yeah, I hope that metaphor kind of makes sense. I think I want to conclude by talking about how much my life has slowed down because of trying these things. Social media, and TikTok in particular, has made my life feel like it goes by really fast. Like I never have enough time for anything. I'm always rushing, which further contributes to my non-enjoyment of things. But when I finally remember and/or make myself make the choice to stop constantly overstimulating myself, there's suddenly so many more hours in a day, which at first can feel like a bad thing when you're experiencing all of those negative emotions at first. But I can take my time now. I can relax into things. Being productive doesn't have to mean doing it fast. There's no rush. I'm just taking my Sims character to wash the dishes. Being mindful is also about doing things with intent. And I find myself enjoying the sensory experience of things more. Going for a mental health walk isn't just going for a mental health walk. I'm noticing the trees and the fact that they're changing color now. The breeze on my skin feels cooler. The weight of my feet on the ground and the feeling of my feet meeting the sidewalk reminds me that I have legs that work and take me places. The more you can slow down and notice, the more enjoyable things have the potential to be. Anyway, I think that's it. Just be patient and kind with yourself. Where you're at now is a very intentional part of the process. There's value here. Now leave.